Hello, doctors, and welcome to the show, Dr. Vince Presents. Every episode, Dr. Vince delivers bite-sized tips, tactics, and strategies to build a better practice and build a better life so we can all achieve health, wealth, and happiness. This episode is brought to you by DC United, a high-level fellowship of doctors working together to create a dream life for themselves and their families. You can learn more at www.becomeadcumember.com. Thank you for attending. And now, on with the show.
Hey everyone, Dr. Vince Leone here, and welcome back to the show. This is episode 2, and we're going over how to create and keep your confidence. And, confidence is one of the most critical attributes that we can develop and protect as doctors and entrepreneurs, okay? Sometimes it's like trying to grab smoke. Other times we can run through walls. So how do we get it? How do we keep it? How do we build on it? Let's go ahead and dive right in. So I break confidence into 3 categories. Pre-confidence, in other words, none or very little, building confidence, and then running and protecting confidence. So let's just get into the first one, pre-confidence. So first, with this, obviously your confidence is very low or you have none. You could have been beaten down. It could be a divorce. Maybe your practice is failing or has already failed. You could have a health concern, bankruptcy. Whatever it is, something has happened or it's in the process of happening and it's shaking your foundation, right? So the best thing if you're in this state is first, just recognize it and accept it, okay? And acknowledge that pretty much every other human being on the planet has been in your exact same shoes. And look, everybody goes through it. That's the bottom line. And so don't think, oh my God, this is only happening to me. It happens to everybody. Now, obviously in varying degrees, right? But it's all about how we react to it. William Shatner, the movie and TV star, back in the heyday of Star Trek, he was doing, obviously great. Star Trek was a phenomenal hit. He was a massive star. But then Star Trek got canceled, right? Then he got a divorce. And the wife or ex-wife got everything of his, including his 3 kids. He was living in the back of his truck, and it had a crappy camper shell on it, dead broke. Now he's worth about $100 million. So these stories are everywhere, right? Before I was a chiropractor, I was a film producer in Hollywood. I've maybe have mentioned this in the past. And I was like top of the world. I was 30 years old. I had just financed, I had raised $1 million in financing out of a private equity individual in New York. This was 2003. I had a great girlfriend I thought I was going to spend the rest of my life with. And then it was a really special time. Had a great group of friends in Los Angeles. And, you never know why these things happen. I got thyroid cancer, at 30 years old. Never knew where it came from. I mean, it was kind of odd because we used to play football, me and my buddies at Beverly Hills High School. And, back in the 60s or 70s, some big oil company had buried a bunch of essentially bad chemical crap underneath that football field. So there was a big class action lawsuit. A lot of people got it. So that was most likely where it came from. But none of my other friends did. But a lot of other people that had graduated from Beverly Hills High School ended up getting thyroid cancer. So there was a huge lawsuit. And, everybody got a little bit of money. It wasn't much. But the bottom line is, who knows why these things happen? And the whole, we just got to recognize it. We got to accept it, and we have to move on. So what was really awesome at that time was then my movie came out and totally bombed, right? So, and this is, and a lot of people, why are you so into advertising? It's because we had an awesome movie, but we didn't have the proper advertising. The individual that financed the movie also distributed it. And he did have experience in distribution, but he didn't have a lot in marketing. And we had like I said, we had a good movie. It was an action surf movie. So built-in audience, all that type of stuff. And it just bombed. So, and honestly, if you can believe this, my girlfriend dumped me too. So it was like a confluence of events. Looking back, kind of funny. But look, life happens, sucks. But again, it happens to everybody. So first, recognize where you're at, accept it, understand that you're not the only one. Millions of people have gone through exactly what we're going through. But we don't necessarily need to hit rock bottom where we're, doing crack and living in the gutter. We just need to get to a point where we recognize it, we accept it, and then we're going to make a plan to move forward on to the next stage. So, a lot of times when docs are in tough times, they get embarrassed. They think, oh man, what's so-and-so going to think about me? And you know what? Nothing. They're not going to think anything about you because they're not even thinking about you. They're thinking about themselves, right? And that's very, very common for us. Even when we are riding high, we may, now I think it diminishes. When the more confidence we get, the better we're doing, the less we really think about other people and what they're thinking about. But don't ever let someone else's opinion of you dictate how you feel about yourself, right? Because it's they're just not thinking about you. And if they do, it's like for a split second, and then they're right back to all the stuff that's on their individual plate. So just focus on you, okay? Focus on you. Put together a plan. Just the actions of putting together a plan is going to make you feel better. So let's go into the next stage, which is building confidence. And look, not everyone's in the pre-confident stage where they're, kind of in that stage of their life. But if you are, not a big deal, okay? Because, most everyone has been there, and now it's just a matter of getting your act together and moving forward. So let's go into the different stages. So we want to start with a commitment, right? Because without a commitment where you're literally making a pact with yourself, right? And it doesn't have to be a big one. It doesn't have to be, I'm going to go save the world. It can be, I am going to run a mile a day for 3 days straight or 7 days straight. Or I'm going to go to the gym 3 days this week. I'm going to... do you understand what I'm saying? It's like, start small. Don't overwhelm yourself, but commit to something, right? Make it a 24-hour period. I'm going to, like, if you want to get super basic, I'm going to make sure I'm hydrated. I'm going to run a mile, and I'm going to have 3 salads in the next 24 hours, right? Where then at that 24-hour period, you can say, did I do this? Yes, I did. You got your win streak. Okay, so you start with your win streak. And all of this is not, I didn't make this up. Okay, this is all based on Dan Sullivan, who's a mentor of mine, and he's just awesome. But the commitment, all right, that's where it has to start, right? Because if you don't make that commitment, make that pact, make it official with yourself, then you have nothing to fall back on, right? So make that commitment. That leads us to then courage, right? Now, courage is, a lot of people think, like, they'll look at someone that is, super confident, doing really well, and think, oh, that person has a lot of courage. Well, they do, but that's not, you know what I'm saying? Like, courage is not when you're riding high. Courage is when you're actually riding low, but you're doing it anyways, right? It's like there's a windstorm outside, and you're going to go out and get whatever done you need to anyways. Now, it's kind of a dumb analogy. Let's get a better one. Courage is when you're about to give a big speech, and you're backstage, and you pee your pants, and you go out onto that stage anyways and make the speech, right? So that's courage. That is taking action in the face of obstacles, okay? And that once you have that courage, that will then lead to capability. Okay. So your capability is obviously your skills, right? And so, for instance, in practice, you may say, I'm going to learn how to make and create a Facebook ad that is successful for my practice, that generates leads. So the courage may come, okay, I'm going to spend $50 a day or $10 a day or $20 a day until I get the conversion that I need, right? Then you start implementing, right? Make your plan, stick to it. Your capability then derives from that. And it's not going to work the first time. Trust me. When I first started running ads, I spent $1,000 before I had actually got it figured out. Once you do get it figured out, right? Once you do have the conversion, right? People are signing up for appointments. Once that happens, then you start to get your confidence. And you're like, okay, now I know how to do this. And then you're just pouring gas on the fire, and you just raise your budget. So with that said, we get to a point where when we come to a brick wall, we really need to be saying, listen, buddy, I'm either going over you, under you, or through you. And you know what? I'm going to pick. So we just have to have that attitude. And it all starts with that commitment, right? The commitment gets us moving forward. The courage is the biggest issue. That step number 2 is the most difficult, right? Because that's where you're essentially going on faith. You're going to move forward despite the fact that you have all these, obstacles in your way. And then once you make that decision and then you take those actions, that's when you start to kind of hit a little bit of a plateau where you were going uphill, a little bit of a plateau. Now you start to get your capabilities, and then boom, you hit your confidence, and then you're going downhill running, right? And that's where you really start to pick up speed. So let's go into our next step here, and running confidence. Okay, so these people, right? They have the big practices. They're the people teaching courses. Confidence is running strong and momentum's continuing to build. Everything seems to go their way. That's what confidence will do for you, right? And you can get there too, right? So how do you, once you have it, right, running, how do you do that? Well, first you need to stay in the game, right? Confidence will come as you stay in the game and stay with success. If we're on the sidelines, right, we're not for instance, in practice, we're not advertising, we're not getting out in the community doing talks, we're not, holding classes one way or another with, in other words, we are not actively implementing things to build our practice. That's being on the sidelines. So we need to stay in the game. We always need to have something going on to build our practice and our business. Now, another thing is do something on a daily basis that either scares you or challenges you. Now, this doesn't can have nothing to do with your practice. Don't do something stupid, right? Don't go playing traffic. You can do public speaking. You can make a goal to meet 10 business owners in your town per month, and you can say, okay, I'm going to reach out to 10 per week, and my goal is to have lunch with 1 per week. Now, why would you want to have and develop a relationship and a circle of business owners in your community? Well, 1, they can be patients. 2, they can be referral sources, and 3, they could be, confidants and trusted advisors. Look, a practice is a small business. So you can be talking with a guy that owns a laundromat. And by the way, those laundromats make a lot of money. I don't know if you know that, but they make a ton of money. And with a very low overhead. If it's either the owner in there or it's someone that's paid $10 an hour. And once they have all the equipment paid for, they have this low-ass rent because they're in just a strip mall. And they just have people coming that just get to know them, get used to them as long as they do a good job and they're nice. No one goes to a different dry cleaner. I've been going to my dry cleaners for 4 years. He's up the street. He's a nice guy. Why wouldn't I, right? The rates are fair. So these guys make a ton of money. And the point being is you can develop a circle. So it's like, in other words, you don't have to look at, if you're doing this like this business owner thing, you don't have to look at like, okay, are these people going to be patients? Are they going to send me patients? You can say, hey, first of all, maybe I can add something to their life, right? Maybe I can be a giver first before a taker. And then maybe I can just ask questions. Maybe I can have lunch with, maybe you find one that you just jive with, you just have a good vibe with. You have lunch once a month, discuss business, what's working, what's not, what are you doing new, what aren't you doing, all that type of stuff. Now, some of these people may be ahead of you, and that's actually better, right? It's better if someone's farther ahead of you, because then you can learn from them. And I had once heard that you want to essentially divide up who you hang out with into 3 categories. 30%, are people that are behind you, right? And then you kind of want to help them, give them tips and tactics. Then 30% are people that are where you're at, right? In terms of, revenue and just kind of where you're at in life in general. And these could be people, friends of the family, friends of your, children, within the school, that type of thing. And then 30% people in front of you, right? They're wealthier than you. They're farther along in their business or practice. So these are kind of mentor type people. And when you do that, you get a nice little segregation of, different, essentially people in different parts of their life that are doing different things. And you want to be learning. You always want to be learning. Hey, do something crazy. Go to Starbucks. And obviously I'm from Seattle, right? Introduce yourself to the baristas. Start going on a regular basis. You don't have to order, I order coffee. I order drip coffee. It's $2. So you don't have to spend a ton of money on it. But look, these baristas know everybody in your town. But get to know them. Introduce yourself. Hey, Dr. Vince. Yeah, I'm right up the street, And then once in a while, just buy everyone behind you a coffee, And you're like, well, how do I know what they're going to order? Give the barista $50 or $20 or whatever it is, and say, hey, buy everyone behind me their drinks. Put the rest in your tip jar. The people are going to ask them, why is this free? Oh, Dr. Joe bought that for you. Who's that? Oh, he's a chiropractor of the street, really nice guy. You're going to start to develop a reputation in your town as a nice guy, right? Or a nice woman. But you're doing something. I remember about a month ago, there was a table full of 6 cops, police officers, right? And I just went and got 6 gift cards, all for $5 each. They get 1 drink. Just brought it over. Hey guys, thanks for your service, man. I got 2 little girls. I appreciate you guys keeping us safe. And they were very appreciative, right? And it felt good to do it. I spent $30, big whoop. And I made some guys smile, feel appreciated, and I felt good. You just need to change things up a little bit, okay? So, finally, protecting the confidence, right? Let's see here. There we go. Protecting the confidence. First, make a list, right? Make a list of what you're going to do. What are the things that you're going to get out and do to continue to maintain that confidence, right? It can be advertising. It can be just developing that relationships in terms of those other business owners in your community. But here, on a separate note, make a list of all the people in your life, right, that you interact with on a daily basis. And this is a big deal. And I want you to put them in 2 camps. Those on your team, and those people are the people that believe in you, they build you up, they protect your confidence. And those not on your team, right? They break you down, they talk shit, they're negative, they don't believe in you, and you know who they are. Now, this list may not be 50 people long. It could be 3 people in each camp. It could be 1 person in each camp. But the point being, you want to make this list, and then you want to start spending more time with the people that build you up, believe in you, and then you want to spend less time with the people that don't, right? And you actually want to start cutting them out of your life because they have no business being in your life if they are not building you up, okay? So make that list, and then make that effort to start adding and subtracting time with those people. Now, finally, your average. So there's a very common theory, a very popular theory that says that we're the average and average income of the 5 people that we hang out with the most, right? They're typically referring to your friends, but whoever you're hanging out with the most. And so why is that? Well, why do you think? I mean, you're interacting with them, you're learning from them, you're sharing stories. So if you're hanging out with losers, you're most likely going to be a loser, right? That's why people develop masterminds. And this started way, way back. Like with the big dogs, like Henry Ford. I mean, these guys would, seek out the other titans in different industries and say, let's hang. And it just happens, right? If you actively chose to spend more time with people that are doing better than you, or they're at the same level and they're as engaged and active in terms of building their own business and their own lives as you are, you're going to see improvements and you're going to grow together. And so that's just critical. I mean, I can't stress that enough. Who you hang out with has a massive effect on who you are as a person and your achievements. So let's get to work, right? Take action, start creating, start building, start protecting that confidence. We don't hear a lot of attribution to confidence. It's all tactics. Here's how to get here's how to build a Facebook ad. Here's how to get new patients. Here's how to, it's like all those things need to happen, right? But those are capabilities, right? So we need to go back to the beginning and get that commitment going, make the decision to move forward, which is the courage, get those capabilities, and then really get confidence flowing, right? So be different, be strong, go make something big happen in your life, right? And then finally, I don't know if you've ever heard of John Maxwell. He's kind of an old-time guy in terms of speaking about leadership and all this type of stuff. He has a great talk on courage, confidence, and decision making. It's about 35 minutes long. It will be well worth your time. So if you're watching this video, you can either click on that link or copy it, or just search John Maxwell Confidence, and you'll see, like I said, the talk is confidence, courage, and decision making, and it's going to be well worth your time. He's an excellent speaker. And so anyways, so that's it for this episode. This was episode 2. Confidence. It's critical, right? So get out there, take action. I'm Dr. Vince. Thank you so much for your time, and I'll look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Bye-bye. Hey everyone, if you like this episode, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and then like my Facebook page at facebook.com/Dr. Vince Leone Consulting. Look forward to seeing you on the next episode.